Michelle?
Yeah.
The Bachelor of Asia-Pacific Affairs at the Australian National University is a dual degree program we offer in collaboration with our partners at the Ritsumeikan University in Japan. Students spend 2 years studying in Australia and 2 years studying in Japan, and they graduate with 2 university degrees, one from the Australian National University and one from Ritsumeikan University. This 4-year program is innovative and brings together the strengths of our 2 universities to create an amazing opportunity for students to study and live in Australia and in Japan. One of the unique characteristics that students experience in this degree is the contrast in the locations of our 2 universities. The ANU's park-like campus here in the heart of Canberra with our close links to government, while in Japan you study at Ritsumeikan's OIC campus, which gives you access to the traditions and history of Kyoto and the commerce and energy of Osaka. The focus on the Asia-Pacific region is a defining feature of the Australian National University. The Bachelor of Asia-Pacific Affairs draws on these strengths of the academics at ANU. So if you're interested in international affairs, diplomacy, strategic and defense studies, or politics, these are exactly the topics that this program will draw on. At Ritsumeikan University, you engage in a global liberal arts education and truly immerse yourself in the culture of contemporary Japan. Global arts emphasizes critical thinking, expression of ideas, and engaging with a wide range of disciplines. In a region as diverse as the Asia-Pacific, these skills are absolutely vital for building and maintaining cross-cultural relationships. Students interested in this dual degree program want to experience and engage with the Asia-Pacific. They'll be adventurous, culturally curious, passionate about the region, and want to be part of a new generation of global leaders.
Thank you for that, Michelle. So that was a brief introductory video with Stefan, our Deputy Dean here. What I want to do now for the session is go through in a bit more detail about this unique program. As the video pointed towards, it is a dual degree program, quite unique in this regard. So it is a 4-year program as well. And at the end of the 4 years, you are graduating with degrees both from the Australian National University and also from Ritsumeikan. So what I'll do is I will share my screen so you can see some PowerPoint slides where I explain a bit more about the program. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them into the chat and I can get to them at the end of the presentation. Also, I'm very happy to have separate individual meetings with any of you if you have further questions about the program. You can find my email address online, or hopefully one of my colleagues can put my email address into the chat while I am talking. So with this program, it's called the Bachelor of Asia-Pacific Affairs. That's the name of the degree you will receive from the Australian National University, and Bachelor of Global Liberal Arts is the name of the degree that you will receive from our partner university, Ritsumeikan, in Japan. Okay. So let me talk you through the program a little bit. So obviously, the distinctive feature about this program is that you get to spend 2 years studying in Japan. I should also say that I'm actually now physically located in Japan. So I am part of the Coral Bell School, employed by ANU, but for the majority of the year, I'm physically located at Ritsumeikan University in Japan, where I manage the program on this side of things. And one of the really interesting aspects of this program is precisely it's much more engaged and sustained than simply an exchange program. You are actually a university student at two separate universities. You're enrolling in subjects and programs at both universities, and at the end of it, you are receiving degrees from both universities. So the type of experience that you receive is one which is far more complex and textured than perhaps you would get with simply doing an exchange program. So the program is taught exclusively in English. So even when you are in Japan, you will be studying subjects in English. Now, obviously the program may be of interest to people who have studied or are studying Japanese. And that's fine. If you want to continue your Japanese studies, that's possible within the context of the degrees. And obviously spending 2 years in Japan is a fantastic opportunity to further your Japanese as well. Now, the size of the program, it's we take, the ANU takes a total of maximum 10 students per year. And then the program is 100. So what happens is we have 10 students that start at ANU, and then 90 students which start in Japan and then spend time studying in Australia. So it's quite, sort of a boutique and tailored program, which also means you get, the benefits of being at big world-leading universities, while also getting a lot of the kind of the more engaged and kind of close attention that you might receive at a smaller liberal arts college. So it's kind of a nice balance of these two type of institutional settings. Because of the way the program is set up, we do only have intakes in the first semester. And we've got some of the other details up on this screen. So in terms of the Bachelor of Asia Pacific Affairs, this is the ANU side of the degree. What you effectively get and focus on is an understanding of the politics, history, culture, and economics of the Asia Pacific region. And this is obviously reflecting the strengths of the ANU. ANU is really one of the world leaders for expertise in this region. And obviously this goes back to the university's founding mandate after World War II. It's also very much influenced by a recognition that Australia's past, present, and future is very heavily tied and connected to the Asia Pacific region. And there's a sort of a vital need for us to really understand this region and be able to operate in it. And the logic here is also for students moving forward once you graduate, regardless of what type of career you're going to be entering, having a strong understanding of the region that you're in, understanding the connections, the relationships, how the politics and the economics and societies are structured. These are going to be vital skills for really being able to work effectively. And as I said, it's really playing to one of the core strengths of the ANU. And because of the dual degree nature of the program, you actually then get the benefit of learning about and understanding about the Asia Pacific region from spending time studying and living in two different parts of the region, Australia and then Japan. And one of the really interesting aspects of this is just understanding how different Asia looks based on where you are in the region, and the way the relationships, the histories, these type of things shape people's perceptions and also shape how the region looks depending on where you are. Some of the core courses you'll do on the ANU side of the degree. So things like key concepts, international security studies, Pacific encounters, so learning more about this very important region close to Australia, origins of political order in Asia, so understanding more, like looking at the history and sociological development of the region, looking at relationships between different countries, how these have emerged, and also the political systems that you find in major countries in the region. Through the program, you do, after doing introductory courses in the first year, and then moving on in your final year, you'll eventually do capstone courses. Some of the capstone courses you'll do include humanitarianism, global governance, Australian security in the Asian century, and then one on the contemporary Pacific. So one of the advantages of the way the program is set up is you get access to a lot of the expertise and subject choices within College of Asia Pacific and within the Bell School, connected to issues related to international security, political and social change, international relations, while having quite a nice broad menu. And this is then paired with the course offerings from our partner university, Ritsumeikan, to have a really nice balance and well-rounded educational experience. So on the Ritsumeikan side, it's called a Bachelor of Global Liberal Arts. And this is really taking this very old tradition of liberal arts education and then thinking about how it can be updated and applied to 21st century. And then also how this tradition, which has a very strong Western focus, how that perhaps translates and looks a bit different being in the Asia Pacific. And in terms of the way that the program is set up, as I said, the Bachelor of Asia Pacific Affairs on the ANU side is really about understanding this key region. And then on the Ritsumeikan side, the Bachelor of Global Liberal Arts, it's really about equipping you with a lot of skills and expertise and knowledge of the world that you will need to adapt and succeed in a rapidly changing and evolving world. Part of the logic here on the global liberal arts side is that the way that the economy is changing, the way that employment structures are changing, some of the most important things you can learn at university are core skills, ways of understanding, ways of learning that you can learn and develop and then apply throughout your life. Right? And learning these core ways of being able to understand and engage in the world are supposed to be skill sets which will last you throughout your career and life. The way it's set up on the Ritsumeikan side is that there are three main clusters. One is called Cosmopolitan Studies, one is called Civilization Studies, and the final one is called Innovation Studies. So across these different areas, you get a full range and cross-section of subjects across the social sciences, but also extending into the hard sciences. And basically this means that not only are you sort of learning about history, you're also going right through across to sociology, even some science, also learning about business, innovation studies, even learning about how algorithms work, these type of things. So it's a very broad and diverse program, and likewise there's the opportunity of Japanese studies cluster. So when you're studying in Japan, you also have the opportunity of studying about Japan's history, society and culture within that kind of setting. I should say one thing about the structuring of the program. I can't remember if I have this on a slide coming up, so I'll just cover it now. The way the program is set up so that students are able to complete these 2 degrees, and this is a really important aspect to understand, is that the structure is in the first year of your studies, you study at Canberra at the ANU, and you do 100% ANU courses, as I indicated some of the course offerings before. You then spend all of your 2nd and 3rd years studying in Japan at Ritsumeikan University at the Osaka Ibaraki campus, which you can see on my screen now. And for the 2nd and 3rd year, you are studying 100% Ritsumeikan courses for those 2 years. Then in your final and 4th year, you return to Canberra and do your final year of ANU courses here in Canberra. And then at the end of that, you then have enough credits to actually receive separate freestanding degrees from both universities. Okay. This is the kind of structure. Because of that, of the way it's set up, there is maybe a little bit less flexibility in some of the courses with how you do things, but this is offset by being able to complete 2 separate degrees within 4 years. And then also, just to emphasize, across these 4 years, you are enrolled in both university programs. Okay, so you're enrolled in both universities. And one of the really interesting things about this is simply being a university student at a Japanese university is a different experience from being a university student at an Australian university. And this way you actually get to experience and benefit from both. So Ritsumeikan's Ibaraki campus, it's located in between Kyoto and Osaka, 2 very contrasting cities. They're both in what's called the Kansai region in Japan. Kyoto is obviously the sort of the historical and cultural capital of Japan. A very, very culturally rich city with, it's an incredible place to spend time in. And then Osaka is really seen as the sort of the business and entrepreneurial hub or heartland of Japan, and it's a very energetic city, and you have this very interesting contrast between these 2 cities, which are only sort of 30-40 minutes away on the train, but have very different aesthetics, attitudes, mentalities, and feels to them. And one of the great things is being a campus is you have access to both of these, while also being able to stay at the new dormitories on campus, which were only completed being built this year or last year. So very new, nice buildings. So where can you go from all of this once it's done? One of the advantages that comes from receiving these degrees from 2 universities is it opens up a wide range of opportunities. Now, if you have a particularly strong interest or desire in spending more time living and working in Japan, well, this gives you a degree from one of Japan's oldest and most well-known and respected private universities. So the Ritsumeikan name and brand is one which is very well established within Japan. You also have access to all of Ritsumeikan's support services for job hunting within Japan. So if you are interested in spending more time living or working in Japan, you have an actual degree from a Japanese university, you also have that experience. You also have the chance of learning more about Japan, perhaps before going further in that direction. On the flip side, you then also have all the benefits that accrue from having a degree from the Australian National University. Obviously, the university, and especially the College of Asia Pacific, has close ties to the national government. Being in Canberra also gives you very good access to that. While at the same stage, the type of skills you're developing on both sides of the program are ones which really can be adapted and applied to a wide range of career choices, whether it's consultancy in business through to government or the NGO sector, or media, or also there's obviously the opportunity of going on and doing postgraduate studies if you're interested. I should also say that I'm actually a graduate of the College of Asia Pacific. This is where I did my PhD before working in the UK and Japan, and returning to the Australian National University. And certainly in my own experience, having the ANU brand, a name behind me, then also the training that I received during my studies has really helped me a lot over my career. So this is some of what you get from the degree. It kind of sets you up. It really is one which is giving you a lot of the kind of skills and mentality you need to adapt and succeed in a really dynamic and challenging world that we're currently in and are likely to continue moving towards. And the type of more generalist skills that you develop in a program like this, these are what are likely to serve you well in the years ahead. So I think what I'll do is I'll finish my presentation there. I hope this has given a bit of an introduction to what the program is about. As I said, because it is a unique program, this is the first undergraduate dual degree program between an Australian and Japanese university. You may have some questions about it, which myself or my colleagues would be very happy to answer. So I'll stop my screen share there, and then I'll have a look, or maybe my colleagues can tell me if there are any questions. Okay. Could somebody, okay, yep, so Michelle has provided my email address. Could one of my colleagues please also provide the general contact details for questions related to Bell and CAP? Yeah, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat. Okay, so we've got a question about internship opportunities. Now, the way it works is because so you're spending your first year in Australia. When you go to Japan, these are your second and third years. I know in Japan, Ritsumeikan has put quite a lot of effort into developing a range of internship opportunities while you're in Japan, and these are not necessarily dependent upon Japanese language skills. And so Ritsumeikan University has very strong business and cultural ties within Japan, especially within the Kansai region. So some of the options available range from working with, doing internships with very large manufacturing firms in the region, right through to internships which have a stronger kind of cultural dimension to them. So I think There's even opportunities to do internships connected to Japanese gardening. So there are a bunch of opportunities on the Japan side, and then when you're in Australia, you have all the opportunities that come through the Bell and CAP networks. And I'm not sure whether you've come across this in looking at other aspects of ANU, but the support for internships and also for job hunting is very, very good. The Career Centre is really excellent here, and it gives you a lot of resources, whether it's, looking for part-time jobs, developing CV and things like this. It's a very good resource. Alrighty, so I'll just work through the questions in order. So there's a question about when studying in Japan, is it possible to take courses in Japanese? So the way the program is set up is that on the Ritsumeikan side, it is we have the program with the College of Global Liberal Arts, and this is a separate freestanding college which was set up specifically for this program, and everything in the program and in the college is done and taught in English. So what this means is that all the courses offered by Ritsumeikan in Japan for this program will be taught in English. Saying that, there are extra Japanese language and culture credit courses which are also offered in Ritsumeikan while you're there, so you have the possibility for studying that. Before I was also talking about how Japanese university life is a different experience to Australian universities. One aspect of this is that in Japan, the role played by clubs and something which is called circles, which are kind of like casual clubs, I guess, and they're often hobby or interest-based. Joining and participating in circles and clubs are a very big part of the Japanese university experience. And being a Ritsumeikan student, you have access to all of these circles and clubs. And actually, these circles and clubs, some of them will be in English, a lot of them will be in Japanese, but joining and participating in them will also be another way of getting access to Japanese language. Alrighty, next question. Unfortunately, this program is only available at the undergraduate level. I know there are some postgraduate options with ANU and Japanese institutions at a graduate level, but not with Ritsumeikan, and my colleagues at CAP are better placed to tell you about that. Then there's a question, if you don't get into the course on the first try, is it possible to transfer into it at ANU? My understanding is that this would be possible, but maybe Maren, can you help me?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it is possible to transfer. You would be applying against the cohort that would be coming in. But yes, absolutely. If you got into the Bachelor of Asian Studies or the Bachelor of International Security Studies, a lot of those courses overlap. So you would need to be strategic about the courses that you choose to study in your first semester, but yes, it is a possibility.
Marin, could you answer another question as well? Is how many people usually apply, and would you expect, or how many applications are there for this program?
Okay. It does concern people that we say that there's 10 students commencing each year at ANU. So it's not an easy question to answer. Generally, we have a few more applications than places, not a lot more, but again, because it is such a niche program, we do find that there's students who are offered a place and then don't necessarily take it up, and we're able to then offer to the next group. So there is a high probability that you would get in. Sorry, what was that, Chris?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, I think it's really worth emphasizing the point you made that there's a small number of places, but this is a boutique program, right? And so it's important, I think, for anybody interested to really understand that this is quite a boutique and unique offering, right? So this is much more than simply an exchange. The commitment is spending 2 years living in Japan, so you want to be able to have the financial resources to be able to spend 2 years living in Japan. Cost of living is roughly similar to what you would experience in Australia, but you do obviously need to have those resources, and also be aware that this is a 4-year program rather than a 3-year program. So there are these distinguishing aspects of the program, and this will mean that for some people and for the students who've taken this program, this is something very interesting to them, and it very much matches with what they want. And hopefully some of the people watching this will really be of interest and match with what you want to do. And if this does seem like that, then I strongly encourage you to apply and be confident about matching and being able to get in. If you're unsure, I think it's just a matter of really looking at the program and working out whether it matches what you're interested in and what you need. But please don't be put off by the fact that this is only there's only 10 places. I think that is most of the questions answered. Are there any other questions? Yeah, I think
can I just add something in there, Chris? With regard to fees, even though you're enrolling in both universities, if you commence at ANU, you will always be paying ANU fees. So your tuition fee will be covered by, for a domestic student, be covered by the HEX scheme. And when you go to Japan, you won't be enrolling in Ritsumeikan University as an international fee-paying student. You still pay the same fees that you pay here in Australia. So that's saves a lot of money.
Yeah, so that's sort of the way it's set up, and the key thing is across the 4 years you're paying fees to ANU, but you are enrolled at both universities, and for the full 4 years you will be an ANU student and you will also be a Ritsumeikan student, and then you will get the 2 separate degrees at the end of the university experience at the end of 4 years. Also, fortunately, Michelle did something I forgot. So she included a link which has the FAQ document, which goes through and answers quite a lot of more specific questions about the program. And if you're interested, I strongly recommend having a look at the document. Also, as I said, you've got my email address in the chat. I'm very happy to arrange one-on-one Zoom meetings with anybody who's interested, so I can talk to you more about the program and answer any specific questions that you have. You know, as I was saying, you know, this is a boutique program, so it's not going to be of interest to everybody, but you know, if you are somebody who is interested in Japan, if you're somebody who wants a really a university experience which goes beyond your kind of comfort zone or what you know, spending an extended period of time overseas, and also kind of getting that balance of having the optionality of living overseas, getting a university degree from another country, while also still having that very strong grounding in Australia through getting the ANU degree. This is kind of a really nice balance. And really, you know, something I talk a lot about with my colleagues at Ritsumeikan is, you know, the world that we're in at the moment and we're heading into is one which is really undergoing a lot of change, and this is only going to continue and speed up with what's been happening this year, right? And because of this, what you take from university and what you need to develop out of university is perhaps changing as well, right? So certainly you do want the benefits that come from being with bigger, well-established and high-ranking institutions. But then also the type of things you're studying, so much of it is about learning how to learn, right? Learning the kind of skills and mindset and abilities which will allow you to adapt and succeed in different roles. You know? Like the likelihood of, well, actually, let me put it a different way. The example I always come back to is if we look, you know, if you look at the American stock market at the moment, right? It is dominated by companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google, right? And then obviously these are driven by platforms like Instagram, WhatsApp. You know, 10, 15 years ago, these companies and platforms don't exist, right? And they now play a huge role economically, socially, culturally, politically, right? So when you look at that, some people could say, cool, okay, I need to go get a job in Facebook, right? That's the quickest way to success. Well, the key thing is, well, rather, what is going to be the next Facebook or Google, right? And in the same way that there are companies and jobs that 10 or 15 years didn't exist, which are now very important and significant positions in companies, some of the roles and some of the companies that you may want to pursue simply don't exist yet, right? So a lot of it is actually about developing the skills and mentality that will allow you to adjust to these type of opportunities as they appear. And, you know, obviously we're going through a period of great disruption, but for those of you who are really able to understand and adapt to that, there's going to be amazing and tremendous opportunities coming out of this, right? And, you know, you're coming into university at a really good time because it's a very good moment to develop these skills, to sort of see what's going on, what's changing, and then working out how you want to adapt to that and which direction you want to take your future in. All right, I don't think I have anything else to add. Does anybody else have any questions?
I'm sure there must be. Don't be afraid to ask.
Do any of my colleagues have anything else they want to add? Okay. Yeah, so I think that maybe covers it. So you please, Christopher.Hobson@anu.edu.au is my email address if you have any questions. I guess just to reiterate a couple of key points. Again, please keep in mind that this is a 4-year program, so 1 year in Australia, 2 years in Japan, final year in Australia, first semester entry only. There are only 10 places at ANU, but also it is a program, so don't worry if you're interested in the program, please apply. ANU side, it is the Bachelor of Asia Pacific Affairs within the Bell School and within the College of Asia Pacific. So really focusing on politics, history, culture, and society of the region. On the Japan side, Ritsumeikan University, one of the oldest private universities in Japan, based in the Kansai region, so Kyoto and Osaka. The program there is Bachelor of Global Liberal Arts, so focusing on this kind of more generalist education, critical thinking, developing the type of skills for the kind of world we're entering. That's the kind of setup and makeup, as Baron said as well. For the 4 years, you're paying fees to ANU, that's consistent, while being a university student on both programs in both universities. Sorry, there's one more question.
Do you want to take that or do you want me to?
I think let's you take it and I'll follow it up.
Okay, so semester 2 this year, all big classes such as lectures are online. There are some tutorials being held on campus, but for semester 2 there is no requirement for students to be in Canberra, as we understand that international students are not able to be here and interstate students aren't necessarily able to be here either. So every course can be completed entirely online. There are some courses where there is an option to attend a tutorial on campus. Is that likely to be the same for 2021? We are anticipating that international students will still have trouble arriving in Australia. So it is likely that there will still be some online component, even if borders are open in Australia and domestic students are able to be here on campus. Typically, how many students in lectures and tutorials in this discipline? Because this is a sort of multidiscipline degree, there would be a variety of class sizes. So even though there's only 10 commencing in this degree at ANU, you will not be just the only 10 students in these classes. Some of the introductory courses also cover areas of security of the Asia Pacific, as well as the origins of Asian politics. So those courses come under the Bachelor of International Security Studies as well as the Bachelor of Asian Studies. So the classes are much bigger than just the 10. It varies considerably between courses. So throughout the degree, it could be from 50 to 200, but I don't want to give, I can't give you specifics because it will vary depending on individual courses that you choose. Why should students move to Canberra if they can study most classes online? It is a completely different experience studying on campus and having that person-to-person interaction than being online. ANU will do everything that we can to get students back on campus as long as it's safe to do so. We will not be doing it in a hurry. We will follow all government guidelines, but we would like our students to be able to experience the society of being on campus and being in Canberra, as well as the pure study of the degree. So it's there's a whole lot of aspects that surround studying that aren't just the academics of it. Chris, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a period of uncertainty, and ANU, like all big institutions, really trying to just manage that as best as possible, while being conscious of the needs of our students, also our staff, also society more generally, and what government expectations are. On the Japan side, obviously, it's also dependent upon on how the situation is in Japan. So at the moment, here in Japan, courses are online as well, except that the society is generally more open and closer to normal than perhaps at least what the situation in some parts of Australia at the moment. As Maren said, basically we are hoping to get back to in-person classes being on campus as soon as possible, while being very aware and transparent about the fact that we're dealing with an uncertain situation where there's sort of limits to what we can predict about what is possible. On the Japan side, so the program is maximum of 100 students. So when you're studying in Japan, the absolute maximum size for class would be 100, but the vast majority are going to be smaller. Strong emphasis also on smaller class sizes, so a lot of them would be max 20 to 30. So that's sort of size, and then as Maren was saying, on the ANU side, it will really depend on what courses you're joining. And I was when was it? About a month ago, I was in Kyoto, and I was taking the opportunity to visit some of the sort of the oldest temples there, and looking at these amazing old buildings which have been standing there for hundreds of years. It just reminded me that this will pass. Life is more challenging at the moment, but this will pass, and life will return to normal, and the type of things which mattered before will still matter, and you can still benefit greatly from the university experience, even if you're not on campus. And basically what we're really trying to do is to give you the best experience and the best support we can in the current context, and then return to campus as quickly as we can. Okay.
Chris, there was a question privately with the student who was from Indonesia. So probably just talk to the international students that may be here and what we suggest to the students.
So you, as an international student, it is possible for you to apply for the program at ANU. But our recommendation is that it's probably better if you apply as an international student to the program to Ritsumeikan. Simply in terms of the way it's structured, in terms of fees, all these types of things, it makes more sense to apply and start the program on the Ritsumeikan side. But if there is a strong I should also say if you start the program in Japan, the program has a different structure. So it's 3 years in Japan and 1 year at ANU in Australia. So it is a more heavily Japan focused experience. You still do the same number of ANU and Ritsumeikan courses, but the structure and delivery is different. If there is a strong reason and rationale for wanting to do it from Australia and start it from Australia, you can apply as an international student. So it is possible, but our suggestion is that it's probably better if you apply on the Japan side. Anything else? Okay. Well, I'd just like to thank all of you for joining and taking time to hear more about the program and to listen to me and my colleagues. I hope this was helpful, and you know, like obviously deciding whether to go to university, what university program to choose. These are important questions, and I'm very glad that you've made the effort to come, and I really encourage you to look at different programs, think through your options, really try and weigh up what you think makes sense for yourself now, what's most important for you, where you want to go, and then think about what type of program will assist with that. And our strong hope and expectation is that the Bachelor of Asia Pacific Affairs, with its very kind of unique aspect with its dual degree aspect and strong connection to Japan, will be of interest to some of you, and hopefully I expect to see some of you applying and joining from next year. Yeah, so please get in touch if you have any more questions. Otherwise, I wish you a good Sunday and all the best from Japan. And the timing for the drop-in session is from 12 to 2 p.m. Canberra time, as per the chat. There's some other links in the chat as well. Okay, so I think we're finished there. Thank you all very much, and have a good Sunday.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
There's still a few who have just joined us this session, Karen and a few others. If you have any questions on the Bachelor of Pacific Affairs program, we have Chris Hobson here who is still with us, and you can ask him some questions.
This covers most. All right. Okay, I think we give up.
Okay.
I want to go get breakfast. I'm hungry. It stopped raining, so I'm safe now. Well, good luck with the afternoon there. Thank you all for your help and time. I'm sending my best from very hot and humid Japan. Cool. Okay, I'm going to log out now. Okay, that's fine?
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
bye.
see you. Bye.
Mariana, you can just end the session.
Okay, thanks.